Full action, this is red passion. Embrace the mix, add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink. Campari, red passion, make the nicest mix. Campari.
Campari Red Passion. Embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Save your quarters and save your dollars.
Parents and guardians, it's time to secure your child's success. Enroll them in Aspire and unlock amazing benefits. $500 in cash savings, $500 in investment shares, and life-changing financial education to teach budgeting, saving, and investing. Don't wait. Sign up your child or ward for Aspire today and give them the tools to achieve greatness. Visit aspire.gov.kn for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, and how are we doing this morning? It's June 19th. We're still in the same year, 2025, just about 4 minutes after the hour of 8. Welcome to today's edition of Island Tea. I am Cortensia, and with me, we have the lovely gentleman over there, Quint. We welcome you to today's program. Remember, if you're listening to us, you can, by radio, you can do so on 98.9 FM. We're being simulcast on TVC Channel 40, as well as Facebook and YouTube. If you have a pressing topic you would like to bring to the fore, or you would like to join in on what we are discussing, you can reach us at, in the UK, you can call us at this number 0333-440065, or in the US, always remind you that we have two numbers. It's 1-718-285-6984 or 1-305-924619, or you can reach us at our local number 466-0989. To the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, once again, good morning. To the regional and international diaspora, good morning. For those of you celebrating, be it an anniversary, a birthday, a graduation, whatever accomplishment you are celebrating in your life, congratulations, happy birthday, happy anniversary, enjoy your day to the fullest. I would also like to send out continued condolences to two associates of mine. We had the funeral of my former, I would say, we ran the same class. We were not in the same class, but I was still called a classmate. Cindy D'Souza Herbert, and the day before we had that of Coy Keynes. Me and Coy always catched up at the gym. We had all talk. If I see Cindy, we'll say hi. We'll just act how we're doing and we'll move it along. But continued condolences to the families of those two individuals. I just don't want to say the Keynes. I just don't want to say the D'Souza and the Herberts, because there's a lot of relations. People are related plenty in St. Kitts. So to all the families, continued condolences, and we will keep you in our prayers. Quint, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine. And you?
Trying to be better than yesterday, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the hill again yesterday, the lovely Timothy Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, trying my best to keep the exercise vibe up. You know, as I tell people, if you didn't get to do it last month, we still have this month. But we have to try.
Yes.
Because we lead very, very busy lives.
Most definitely.
Well, I want to start on the local scene. I'm just going to hit the headlines, and I'll go local, regional, and international. Now, local, there's complaints again about illegal dumping in St. illegal sand mining. And we also have the Bassett High School. We know that project is on the way. We have new uniform for the domestic staff at GNF. I like the new uniform. They look more inclusive. I hated that old uniform. Yes, I hated it because when I look at them, I normally think Irish Town Primary School.
Okay.
I hated that uniform. So this uniform makes them fit in more. And as the permanent secretary would have said, they're a part of all that is orchestrated up at the hospital. So it's nice to see that they look professional. It matches the aura at the hospital now. No more Irish tongue mixed in uniform. Yeah. And then St. Kitts and Nevis wins the HSP Best New Passport Award. I guess our design is fabulous. Yeah. It's like, and we have another missing young lady. Did you hear anything about them finding Shirley the Biscuit Ford?
No.
I have not, and that's the thing, you know, we speak about these things and then I don't see follow-up communicate to say this is what happened, but I'll have to do some investigation and see if she was found. But now we have a young lady, her name is, I want to say it's Janilika Rumney. She's from New Guinea. She was last seen in her school uniform. Let me just pull up that one because I have it right here. Give me 1 second. Let me just read the entire thing so that she can be recovered because...
About how old is she?
That's what I'm going to... She's a school child, so okay, let me go back here. Give me 1 second. See, every time you... A law for civil servants. But I wonder why only for civil servants, though. It should be across the board. Private, civil, whatever. And... it has taken us that long for that to happen here. Because sometimes we leave the poor moms, let me not say poor moms, I don't mean it in that way, but we leave you alone home with the child for most of the day, and some dads actually want to stay home and help out. I know some companies, when I worked for Liat, I know the dads had at least 3 or 4 days, if I remember correctly, according to the manual, for paternity leave.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know a few other Caribbean islands have it in the private sector. I don't know about the public sector. So it's nice to see that they are...
We do have it here, right?
That's what I'm not sure about.
I
didn't see anything about it.
I think so. I think if I'm
Googled
not
it last night.
mistaken, when a lady gets pregnant, she's entitled to a certain amount.
Yeah, that's that. But... the fathers.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the father. Yeah, I think the ladies have 13 weeks.
In Antigua, they're trying to do it for the fathers.
The dads are gonna get it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to locate. Let me just plug it in and see if I find it. Yeah, so the fathers are going to be considered now in Antigua. And in international news, we see Sabalenka writes an apology to Gaff for unprofessional comments after French Open lost. And that story's in The Guardian. And then in international news from AP, I see something... Imagine, you can't clean up your house at home, but you tell somebody you could clean up their house for them. Putin says Russia could help broker a deal between Iran and Israel.
You know, I don't go... Look, I don't go against Putin that easily, you know what I'm saying? I do not.
You can't broker a deal with him and Ukraine. How are you going to broker a deal with Israel and Iran?
Ukraine started just like Israel started this thing now with Iran. Iran, the same Ukraine started the thing over there. So
not a thing or so, you know. Not a thing or so. Remember, Ukraine said it wasn't going to be invaded. The next minute you see big invasion. Big invasion. They say, no, they're not going to do that. They're not going to this. People say, but we seen all kind of soldiers popping up around the place. You're not concerned? Nah. We'll be fine. Next minute, bomb, 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 bomb.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine while you're trying to set up a NATO base in the man's boundary. You crazy?
This is Ukraine was saying they'll be fine, that nobody's going to invade them.
Yes, they're going to be fine while they're trying to set up a base in the proximity of Russia.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like me setting up a spy gallery to peep into your bedroom from my side of the fence, and I'm telling the neighbors, I'm going to be fine, I'm going to be fine. Yeah, I'm going to be fine, but I'm going to be invading your privacy. So,
listen, I'm looking, I'm still not finding it.
what are you looking for?
I'm still trying to find the stuff with
The girl?
the school child. Let me tell you, I literally had it up on my screen and now I can't find it anywhere on my screen.
Well, just move
Anywhere.
along yeah, just, you know.
I just wanted to put the information out there so we can look for her.
Well, here, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that she's found. I'm a bit concerned because this has happened in our neighboring islands, and we see how it turned out, and we don't want that to be happening here. So let's hope it's not a trend. That is why I asked how old she was, because perhaps if she's in her teen or so, maybe she ran away from home to be with a boyfriend or something like that.
I'm hoping that's not the case.
You know how these teenagers are
I
these
know,
days.
and then sometimes people say, "Oh, don't look for them because you all know what them is." But
Yeah,
we can't
but you
say
should look for
everybody's
them.
there. Yeah, exactly.
You should look for them. I mean, no parent is going to say that. The people who say that aren't the parents. You know, no parent is going to say, well, my daughter or my son is missing, I'm not going to look for them because I assume I know where they are. No.
Yeah.
Parents are going to be concerned. So, keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that we can hear that she is found.
Indeed. And I'm hoping too that Shirley Biscuit is found as well. That is Shirley the Biscuit Ford. All right, so as we continue along, we know today's Juneteenth. And we know it's June and the 19th mixed together. And it is really, as I said, it is celebrated as Black Americans' true independence. So Black Americans' true independence from slavery. We know Congress passed a bill on January the 31st, 1865, but we know that bill was not enacted, and it was ratified in December the 6th, 1869. That's when slavery was fully abolished in the U.S. And we know it's a federal holiday, by the way, because I think it's President Biden. Yeah, it's President Biden that enacted it into law. It came in under him. I remember this lady. Was it Miss Johnson? I can't remember her name exactly, but she was there to see it put on the books.
Okay.
So, and today in the U.S. they normally celebrate with picnics, reunions, as I say, reunion of family members of the enslaved that were finally freed, and they wear red. And then the Juneteenth flag is a representation of red, white, and blue because of their freedom. And they also associate a red soda pop with today. So, yeah, that's the federal holiday today in the U.S. So we can celebrate with them, too.
Why is it we always want to put white in our celebration for freedom as a Black people?
Because white doesn't signify peace. White doesn't signify peace.
Does it?
Boy.
I'm being devil's advocate here.
I know, but we see in most things somebody's always waving a white something.
Yeah, because that's the way they framed it, you know. But at the same time, white resembles peace, white resembles purity, and the white has been our oppressors.
Ooh, oh my gosh. They're Caucasians, they white.
Well, we call them white.
Lord, that went deep
but
there.
But look, they use that white in their favor to say, well, you know, white is pure. Have you seen something that has been trending recently where a lot of the Caucasians on TikTok decided to push this thing about don't let our pure white snow be contaminated?
No.
You need to peruse that, and you see the lashback that they're getting.
Don't let their pure white snow be contaminated.
Yeah, you know when snow comes down, it's white.
Yeah.
That is why I tell you they pick into no, but they're speaking about when it comes down from the sky, pure and white, and they're saying, don't contaminate, don't let our pure white snow be contaminated, meaning don't integrate your whiteness with anything else to mess it up. But the backlash they got from that, backlash like, snow is temporary, it comes and then it's gone. Dirt, the saying is don't let our pure white snow be contaminated with dirt. That's it.
Yeah.
And so people say, okay, snow is temporary, it comes, it melts away, it's gone, but dirt is here. Everything comes from dirt, you know. So that is to strengthen my point that when it's convenient for them, they use whiteness.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I don't know why is it that for instance, in our national flag, we have the 2 white stars, you know, representing, I think, hope or peace, or I don't know. Remember what it is? Because I'm not too much on patriotism. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too much of a patriot, because patriots, they say, if you're a patriot, you give your life for your country. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But we see otherwise, and so on. So I don't fall for those kind of things. I love my country, but I won't say that I'm a patriot in the true sense of what they think. But if I were to be a nation and I got a flag, I wouldn't put white in it. Not that I don't like white, but I don't think as a black person I want to put white anywhere. If I'm going to represent stars, I'm going to represent them as gold or yellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Richness. So the young lady's 15 years. She's from New Guinea, St. Kitts. She's brown skinned. She's 5 feet. She has a slim build. She has brown eyes and black locks. And she was last seen on the 16th of June. That would have been on Sunday, so around 3:40 p.m. in New Guinea, wearing her child's school uniform. That's Monday. Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday,
yeah, the
Wednesday.
16th was Monday, the 15th
Today
was
is
Sunday.
what?
Today is the 19th, the last of the teens for the June before we go over in the 20s and end the month.
Today is Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's a number of days.
Yeah,
there.
and they came.
And how old you say she is?
15.
15.
And this was reposted again yesterday. So it's been up since the 16th, and it's been reposted again yesterday at the 18th. So they said, if anyone has any information concerning the whereabouts of Miss Romney, please contact the nearest police station. All information shared will be treated as confidential.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope.
Here's hoping we find her.
Everybody that's missing, I hope that we find them. Cause
everybody that's missing.
We always get these communiques, but then we don't get the communiques to say, okay, we found this person, we found that person. So please, we need to follow up as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. We need, to alleviate our stress factor and concern that, yes, you have found that person. Let's take a bit of a commercial break, and we'll be back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
On Sunday, June 29th from 4 p.m., Caramel Beach Club transports you to Destination France for White Sands Parisian Soiree! Featuring the White Swimsuit Competition. Spitmasters, DJ Smudge, and DJ Terra out of Circuits, and DJ MJ of Dominica, Travis World and Loves out of Trinidad, and Bishop Escobar of Jamaica. Captivating performances by Sugar City's very own Lucas H.E. and David House and Miss Dimension. Appearing for the first time in St. Kitts, Dance on Jamaica. Performing his biggest hits, Jamaican dancehall sensation, and bringing the energy from Trinidad, Miguel Deja. White Sands will be hosted by top DJ and radio personality Sweet Sister Sensia and Jamaican radio host DJ Spark. Tickets are just $120. Pay $150 at the door. For online tickets, visit Carabola.com. It's a French affair on Sunday, June 29th at Carabola Beach Club for the summer's hottest all-white party. White Sands Parisian Soiree!
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm like it's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. Oh, a rhythm.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And welcome back to Island Tea. Miss Henry and Greg, myself and Quint are wondering how you're both doing. We haven't heard from you in a while. And, you know, we shouldn't wait until we don't hear from people to check on them. But it makes us a bit more concerned when we don't hear you. Not saying everybody else isn't important, but we are just wondering.
Those are some of our regulars.
Yeah, so, how you're keeping, okay? And while we were on break, Quint, I researched paternity leave in St. Kitts, and I see that Flow. They said some companies like Flow have implemented their own paternal leave policies that include paternity leaves for the dad. So it says, I see no St. Kitts and Nevis does not have a statutory paternity leave law, while maternity leave is mandated for a maximum of 13 weeks. That's the mommy. There is no corresponding legal provisions for paternity leave for the fathers. Employers may, however, offer paternity leave based on their own internal policies. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah, so hopefully, government, if you're listening, give the fathers some time off to help the mommies.
Mm-hmm. Give the fathers some time off to get some more stress from the mommies.
Oh, Lord. No. But so mommy must stay home with the wear all day.
Today I'm in a devil's advocate mood.
I see that. I see that. But no, the dad needs a time off, man. But boy, I wonder how we have a caller? Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island Tea. Good morning.
Hi, morning.
See? You have the caller laughing.
Yeah, but actually though, I mean, seriously, since they've been talking about increasing the population,
exactly,
you
right?
think that would be an incentive?
Mm-hmm.
You know, paternity leave. So, that, and of course, if they say something like all the care is free, or the state would pay for all the care, private thing, that people might think twice. Hortensia, though, what I noticed you were objecting to what Quinn said about who started what war.
What was just from having a base?
The problem
wait,
is.
Wait.
Let me explain the problem.
Okay, go ahead.
Right? Israel would say that they attacked Gaza because of October 7th. When for years they've been attacking Gaza, right? They just scaled it up. That's all they did. Right. So who would you say started this war?
The last Israel war?
Gaza. Yeah.
The people that kidnapped the people on October. The people are living with the poor people that in Palestine that already gets attacked. So they started it and put trouble on the people's head again. So I would say over there, the Hamas.
You know, Mr. Warner, I've got
Mr. McMahon.
Mr. McMahon, sorry. I've got a clip here, and I'm going to play it, and it is entitled Evangelists Cheering on the War in Iran. And I say that because those individuals who are of the Christian faith, Christian persuasion, they tend to, most of them, side with Israel because of what they read in the Bible and so on and so forth.
But imagine that. I mean, for instance, this morning I've heard the EU came out with a statement, basically calling for the hostilities to end with Iran. But they had to put in a but.
Yeah.
Israel has the right to defend itself.
Yeah.
Israel attacked Iran,
Israel attacked
but
Iran.
Israel has.
See how
Israel didn't attack Iran?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They attacked
I'll
Iran.
agree with that one. I'll agree with that one.
But they're saying Israel has the right to defend itself.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about preemptive action, then any country can attack any other country based on preemptive action.
Yeah.
Any country could say that. I mean, Guyana could say that they're taking preemptive action against Venezuela.
But they have been saying that because the Venezuelans have been trying to pick trouble with us for our grass. No, not even a blade.
But Venezuela can also say that about Guyana if Guyana is bringing military bases there. Okay? The thing is, you can't just change the world order just like that, because there are so many nations with so many grievances, and a lot of them are historical things, right? You're going to be causing chaos, right? And that is the fear that.
Mr. McMahon, when they're not changing it just like it, that is the way it has been. It's just that the smaller, more weaker countries that don't have military might and strength and armies and so forth are not allowed to do it. But the big countries, go back in history and you see the big countries do preemptive strike whenever they want. Are aligned with the big countries, you can do a preemptive strike. Countries do preemptive strike whenever they want. And if you are aligned with the big countries, you can do a preemptive strike. And what they're saying is, as you are on our personal right to defend, must.
I don't know. It's just full of double standards.
Yeah.
I find. You look at and you see one lot of U.S. bases, right? Situated in other people's countries.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have to wonder. I mean, isn't a military base by itself a threat? You're inviting problems by having. There's one thing to have, let's say, a goodwill visit by some military thing like what we used to have here when like the British and other countries would bring the stopover ships and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to have a base in your country. That's a totally different level. And how we, as a small country, should be looking at this is at some point we are going to be affected, because any country, any large country, can then decide we need St. Kitts and Nevis to enhance our national security or some strange reason.
Yeah.
And just take us over, and we can't do anything about it.
Good morning, Sylvine.
We have to have standards.
Hold on a second, Miss Henry. Mr. McMahon is...
Good morning, Cartel.
This is Henry there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, Mr.
McMahon.
What about? What the man and what the mouth?
Oh, Lord.
No, before we start, I want to send birthday greetings all the way over to Barbados to my granddaughter, Michaela Headley's birthday. Today's her birthday.
Okay. Happy birthday to your
Tomorrow
granddaughter.
would be my,
Happy birthday to your granddaughter.
Yeah, she's studying at Cable.
Okay.
Then tomorrow will be my sister-in-law, Blondina Freeman, who live at, what the place name now? In St. Thomas.
Okay.
Anna's Retreat.
Okay.
And then the next day will be my nephew, Derek Williams' birthday. He's from Haysmith Village.
Okay.
Last week was my brother's birthday, the 13th. On the 14th, I got my first great-grandson.
Oh, wow.
A lot of
So
June
June
in
is
your family.
Chapel. Now, I wanted to respond to something that Quincy said.
Yeah.
Quincy is evangelizing, or whatever you want to call it. No, no true Christian would condone what was done or is being done by the European powers. We are assuming in some of our analysis that black people have not changed. Oh, they give us this Bible, so the Bible has not been revised so many times. Go on to BibleGateway.com, you see how many different revised versions.
Yeah.
And even during slavery, those who in the house, they knew, because remember, that is what gave them the impetus for freedom.
Yes, you're right.
They learned that this thing about slavery, no. If God could bring out a whole nation of people, he could bring them out.
Yeah.
And that gave them the courage to run away. And no matter what they maimed them, killed them, they wanted their freedom, because the God of the Bible, the true Bible, didn't want them to meet a condition. We talk about the lady who used to go and bring them out, take them to Canada.
Sojourner Truth?
Sojourner Truth.
Yes.
She believed in the Bible.
Yeah.
And a lot of black people that enable them to see things differently. So don't assume that the old system persists, because the truth is, when you look at the story of Exodus, God did not only just bring them out, He went into the very house of Pharaoh. Man and beast, the first one were killed. So not only they were bawling, they had a bawling to do too. And if you look at even modern history, a lot of these countries who were once dominant colonial powers, what are they today? A lot of them are under the control of the U.S.
Yeah.
Or under Russia or somebody. He said he will bring them down. He said so. He said those who fight against us, we fight against them. But we don't say that. Oh, we believe. All I'm asking, what is the alternative? I'm not ashamed to say I'm a Christian, Because I remember when I went to UWI, I was socialist in Lenin, right? Socialist. I even taught economics.
Well.
And
Imagine that.
this man,
She said she was
George
left leaning.
Beckford, about George
She was a
Beckford?
socialist.
Imagine
he wrote
that.
the book Persistent Poverty.
Sylvine,
been a bigger socialist. Then you had,
Sylvine is a more progressive
Monroe.
thinking person, so.
I mean, they were all on campus. I mean, you would have done the work, politics and so in your first year. And they would motivate you.
Yes.
But when you reach to Jamaica, I remember George Beckford taught me this class called Economic or Politics. Shows you how to transform your economy from capitalism to socialism. I was shocked. Even one lecturer talking about, say, well, why you don't go to Cuba? I said, me? I'm not going to Cuba. I can't live in a place where I can't talk. Mm-hmm. And after George Beckford died in the crazy house, I said, well, wait, what kind of example is this? Trevor Monroe Party was active in Jamaica. Remember when they had all the thing in the early 80s? I went up 82. And in the same course I was doing, called the Economics of Political Transition or whatever, I came across some students who were taking part. I said, my God, the amount of blood on their hand. There was one young man who used to walk around on campus with a cane, like, you know, them old Rastaman.
Yes.
And they said, you know, they said, well, whose side you on? If you're on the side, they cut a cross in the sole of your foot. And so, to prove his loyalty, they tell him, well, go home and kill your uncle. That's what they do in Africa, right? With the young people, them. And the boy said, well, I can't kill him here because he's my grandmother. Because his grandmother raised him, grandmother only child. I said, you gotta go. I think he went, and the boy went crazy. He wouldn't keep up on campus. You know, I met people from the Grenada Revolution. A very good class. But when I look at the people who pushing this thing and the way they're responding to other people, Mr. Darling, you rest down that this is a see. While we're talking about quarry and whatever, they said that there were 3 countries. What is going on in the other 2 countries in Africa? Why are they not following his example?
They are, but people are not. I spoke to Kalanji and a friend who came here recently, and I said to them, y'all are doing a disservice when you only push Abraham Traore. And
but that is what I think too, because 3 of them stand up for the same thing.
Yes.
And only one, because I put more pressure on him, you know.
That's what I told them.
He's being set up to be killed.
Yes, that's exactly what I told them, and they agreed, they concurred, and I even said, I know the names of the other 2 leaders. Do you know the names? And Kalanji gave the name just like that, so he knew them. But
Kalanji is like George Beck for them. Kalanji does not believe in people having an opinion. You're going to sideline them. They're enemies. I mean, you call them enemies before you know what they actually think.
I wouldn't go so strong on that. I think.
You keep pushing it. You keep pushing this thing.
Look, one of the things that people feel that when Mandela became the president of South Africa, that he was forced to separate from Winnie Mandela because she was more militant.
Not only was she militant, what she did was seen publicly.
Yes.
So while she meant well, but she like this who emphasis against us.
Well, and there are those of us, myself included, who feel that there are times when you have, not normally, but there are times when you have to take those measures.
Yeah, but the people must understand what you're doing.
I agree.
You can't terrify people into submission. That's all I have with what Kalanja is saying.
Okay.
Well, the way forces against us, well, therefore, they're the only people who understand anything.
Okay, Miss, okay, because since you've started, Mr. McMahon is there in the background waiting patiently.
McMahon, you could hang up so long.
Oh no, I was just listening to her. Right, I was just listening.
I heard you yesterday say, well, Lord, how many times have I heard it, and I am still waiting for the substitute.
For the
substitute for what?
For the substitute.
I mean, a good substitute, eh?
You mean for religion?
Not religion, but Christianity, and you have so many different kinds, right?
So that's what I'm saying. So who's right and who's wrong? Who determines? Christian determine their right, the Buddhist determine their right, the Muslim determine their right. Yeah,
you look at the working out of it, eh? Now, something, listen, attention.
No, wait, hold on a minute, though. Why does somebody have to be wrong?
A good man planted a field with good seed. And in the night, when he wasn't paying attention, an enemy planted tears, or what we call weeds, right? He said, when the someone said, Master, you didn't realize the field having tears and wheat, and they look alike. He said, shall I go in and pull them out? He said, no, because if I try to pull them out while they're still young, you might pull out the wheat with the tears. He said, leave them alone until the harvest time. Then when the master go into the field, he's going to pull out the false one, throw them in the fire. Sometimes we get people will be false,
Yeah,
No matter from the road come down.
but Sylvine, the master is the one who would determine that. But we don't have that. The people,
That's what I
the
say.
people.
Master said, leave them alone.
Yeah,
Some
but-
people say, oh, the Christian. That's not true.
Yes, but as Mr. McMahon, you make your point.
Yeah. I was saying that I think the Christian religion is one of the few that actually condemns other people to hell. Okay, a lot of religions have common things. So to me, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. That because you're a Christian, say that all the others, everybody else is wrong.
Yes.
Right. You can how can you determine what we are all individuals? How can you determine what we should accept?
It's the same like she's saying that Kalonji is saying if you're not for me, you're against me, but that's saying the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. Right. You can't be, but it seems as if you have, in order to be a Christian, you have to condemn everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else's religion, everybody else's beliefs, etc. And that is. I didn't think that was necessary, to be quite honest.
I agree.
You know, and that is why I guess the Bible can be so conflicting, because on one hand, it preaches tolerance and acceptance and so on, even of sinners. And then on the other hand, you can pick out places that it essentially condemns all of them.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can be the judge, jury, and executioner.
I agree.
You know, we can't leave everybody to their own beliefs, and I think the golden rule would be a good thing to be practiced by all. If we practice that, I don't think we'll have half the problems that we do
I agree.
in the world, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So,
And by the way, another outrage, another double standard. Israel this morning is saying that Iran committed a war crime because a hospital was hit. The hospital was apparently damaged.
I tell you, you can't make this thing up.
You can't make this thing up.
Wow.
How many hospitals have they destroyed in Gaza?
And they're still doing it. They have cut off electricity to Gaza, and we heard the news clip this morning that said when you cut off electricity, the people can't get water. And even though a family was saying we learned how to survive without food for as much as a week, but we can't survive without water. They're doing this thing. This is genocide, undisputed genocide, and the rest of the world is just speaking and doing nothing.
It just shows the power of the United States. A lot of us took it for granted. We knew that the United States was the most powerful country on earth, but the practical implications of that, I think we were seeing for the first time, because the rest of the world knows that that what Israel is doing is wrong, but
yeah.
You know, they're powerless to do anything, because the only country.
I don't think that they're powerless.
What can they do?
I don't think. I think what they should do is get together and as one body, whether Europe or whatever, and decide that they're gonna put. Why can't you put sanctions against the United States of America too? You know, we just
because
don't
most
think.
likely but that's what I'm saying, because it's probably suicidal to do that.
Look,
because most countries, a lot of the country's economies depend more on the U.S. than vice versa.
I agree, but there are things that you can, as a unit, you can't do that if you go on your own. But as a unit, there are things that America depend on from the rest of the world. America doesn't have any minerals and this and all those kind of stuff, you know.
But who's going to be so brave to do that?
They may not have them. They may not have them, but they can take them. That's the whole point. I mean, it is so. The military might is so advanced
You see, let me
so
tell
far
you,
ahead of the others.
Let me tell you the mistake that the world made, and you referred to it. When they allowed the United States of America to put these bases all over the world, that is the mistake they made. Because they allowed America to be in a position to hit you from almost anywhere. So if America didn't have those bases all over, she would be only in America, and that she would be weak. As much as she has all the missiles and that, to get it from here to there would be a problem.
But that's true. But at the same time, America would argue that if they weren't there, then a lot of small nations, especially like key nations in the Middle East, the smaller Qatar and those places, would have been overrun.
They would have been
right? They would have been overrun.
They would have been overrun
by the neighbors. Yeah.
Look, the United States of America and the rest of the world, in conjunction with the United States, I'm going to take a break in a while. They have put these bases around the world so that they can instill fear. One, they can instigate internal strife and all those other kind of stuff. We only look at the side that they want us to see, the positive side, that you will be overrun, but we don't look at all the underhanded things that they're doing simultaneously. Yeah.
It's all about hegemony.
Yes.
You know, and making America great again.
Yeah. Let's take that break. Okay. While we were having that discussion, I did see the phone line lighting up, but I didn't want to take the call because I wanted to take a commercial break. So, caller, you can call back right after this break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Get ready to stretch your way into the ultimate festival experience. The sickest music festival is calling, and so are some serious prizes. Spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win a season pass and a night stay at Park Hyatt, a season pass and a night stay at St. Kitts Marriott Resort, and a season pass and a White Sands ticket. That's right, spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win. Available at all Caribbean lottery retailers island-wide. You must be 21 and over to play. St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to celebrate. We're raising our glasses and saying cheers to 20 years as your trusted telecommunications provider. And because we love our amazing customers, we're giving you the chance to win. Every week, we've got exciting prizes just for you. And that's not all. Step into a cash vault for a shot at $2,000 in cash. To qualify, switch to Digicel, activate a 3-day plan or higher. Pay your bill in full. Sign up for postpaid or a new Digicel Plus internet package. Stay connected, keep enjoying the best service, and get ready to win. 20 years strong, and we're just getting started. Visit a Digicel retail store today. On Sunday, June 29th from 4 p.m., Caramel Beach Club transports you to Destination France for White Sands Parisian Soiree. Featuring the white swimsuit competition. Spitmasters, DJ Smudge and DJ Terra out of St. Kitts and Nevis. DJ MJ of Dominica. Travis World and Lums out of Trinidad. And Bishop Escobar of Jamaica. Captivating performances by Sugar City's very own Lucas H.E. and David House and Mr. Mention. Appearing for the first time in St. Kitts, dance on ID's Jamaica. Performing his biggest hits, Jamaican dancehall sensation, Rock. And bringing the energy from Trinidad, Miguel Tasia. White Sands will be hosted by top DJ and radio personality Sweet Sister Sensia and Jamaican radio host CJ Spark. Tickets are just $120. Pay $150 at the door. For online tickets, visit CaramelaBeachClub.com. It's a French affair on Sunday, June 29th at Carambola Beach Club for the summer's hottest all-white party. White Sands Parisian Soiree.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
So, whilst perusing Quint,
Yeah.
I just saw there was an attempted murder in Halfway 3. It says the violent crime unit of the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force is actively investigating a shooting incident that occurred in Halfway 3 around 9:15 p.m. on June 18th. That's last night, 2025. The victim, 23-year-old Jelani Ford of Harry Phipps Housing Project, was shot multiple times while sitting in a friend's yard. A masked gunman approached and opened fire. Jelani tried to escape but was hit in both feet and his left hand. He was rushed to the Parkson Hospital, then transferred to the JNF Hospital, where he's now listed in stable condition. Police have processed the scene and collected evidence. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information is encouraged to speak up.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't know what to say because
Me neither.
we know how these things start, and we know they don't end where they start. So we know usually there's some form of retaliation.
Oh boy. And again, it's another young man. And then I saw a video with a supermarket being robbed. I don't know if that's one of the supermarkets that was robbed recently.
I saw a video with another, I don't know if it's another, but a Chinese supermarket being robbed,
Yeah.
and the person looking like some kind of a superhero, like some
Listen.
just like a Catman or something like that.
I do not know what that was, but even when he told the gentleman to come out, the other Chinese guy came close. But when, listen, I don't mean to laugh, but when he called the local out, Quint, I saw that guy, when he was looking, that guy made an instant dash. I said, didn't that guy think in that moment, what if he had fired that gun? But listen, it was the robbery, no fun and laughing games in that, but the way that gentleman, and he looked like he had something on his hand, like his hand was spraying or something, that man dashed, that young boy dashed out of that supermarket.
You mean the one who was doing the robbery?
No, the one that he called. They had an employee, and it looked like a customer hiding behind some stuff when he came in to rob, right? But the customer dashed. When I tell you dashed, he did a sideway cartoon dash like I would see on telly.
Look, that's something we know in the Caribbean.
Yeah, the adrenaline in him. He just,
look,
soon
in the
as the guy looked
Caribbean,
down.
in the Caribbean, like that is why when we as black people go to movies, we're always laughing because you would see something happening and those Caucasians will go to look to see what it is. In the Caribbean, we run the opposite direction.
Exactly.
The first thing in our minds is run. Hello, caller.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Good
How you
morning.
guys doing?
How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to you guys both and to the listeners home and abroad. Quint and Cortense, good morning to you, man. How you guys doing
Morning.
today?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. I must straight up confess that I have lost some sleep last night, this morning, over the continued issue of the Kristoff Harbor. And I know Quint said he's going to play a clip, and I would maybe try to ask him to play that Dwyer Astafan's commentary.
I don't have
If
Dwyer Astafan's commentary. Look, I don't try to go.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
I don't try to go looking for certain things. Dwyer Astafan has, his means of saying things. I may concur to some extent. I may disagree to some extent, but I'm not going to go and play his clips, unless maybe somewhere down the line I happen to have one, and I feel that there's a specific point. But I think Dwyer makes his point quite well. So if he made a point that you agree with, then speak on it, elaborate on it.
Okay, well, I am not saying this. But okay, let me get past that. What I will say after what you responded, the part where you said you might agree with some things what he might say, I would agree with you with that. But let me get past the request to you, and the request is going to go to the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm just asking those persons who are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, home and abroad, to listen to that Dwyer Astafan's commentary from yesterday. The reason why I don't glorify none of these guys. I'm telling the whole people, the whole federation straight up. I don't glorify none of these guys because they were all there when these bad deals were being done. They were all there when these bad deals were being done. So in my mind, as an outsider looking in, I'm telling you straight up, I believe I've lost all respect for all the politicians on the ground.
But Burl, here's what I would like you to do some of the times. When you hear something, that is why I am here, Cartense is here. When we hear something, we bring it to the public. We whether by clip or we read something also. You hear something that we didn't hear. Don't just come and say listen to. We don't expect you to bring the whole thing, but at least enlighten us as to one or two of the points that were made that you feel that was relevant. Because other than that, you just say, "Listen to." I didn't hear it. I don't.
And I can concur with you, and I can reference the points that you want me to reference. They are all there laid out clearly. And like I'm going to tell you, I'm not glorifying his commentary. I'm not glorifying him. Me, I was missing some years of Sinkis and Nevis, and the reason why I listen to these fellas is to get the historical context and to get the details. The details of what he said is very telling. Very telling. I have my own independent mind, my own independent way of thinking. I have my own personal agenda, just like everybody else. Everybody that's calling on the radio station, they got their own agenda. And we can't put these agendas together and unite. We can't do it. We can't get to do it. What I want to see happen in Sinkis and Nevis, I want to see real progress, real advancement. I want to see the quality of the life of the people lifted. I don't want to see just certain persons getting the money or grabbing the money. The money has to trickle down to the working class people. And as far as our lands, the resources that we have is our people and our lands. We don't have no gold and no backside.
Burl,
and with
Burl, give us at least 2 points that you felt you garnered from what was relayed by Dwyer. Give us at least 2 points that you feel are relevant. Two things that he said.
Number one. I made a statement one time on here that the seawater that's surrounding the peninsula, whoever owns the land is going to own also the beach fronts and the seawater.
Yes.
And they're going to control. If you control the seawater, you're going to control commerce between Sinkis and Nevis. And the idea of a bridge being erected on the peninsula side and to be connected with Nevis, we basically can kiss that thought goodbye.
Yes.
If we just take the peninsula of Sinkis and give it away or sell it out to foreigners.
You've said that on numerous occasions, yes.
Yes. There is a specific point that Dwyer said in that commentary that the people over there at Kristoff Harbor, they're going to own the shoreline and 12 miles out in the seawater. Another thing,
wow. Wait.
Prime Minister
pause a minute there. 12 miles you said,
Yes, 12 miles.
Wow.
That's what he said.
12 miles. 12 miles away from our coastline. So that means in that area, 12 miles away from the coastline, fishermen won't have the right to do what they want in that. They can look. So this is why when I said to you, when you hear things and you feel they're a relevant point, come and bring them. You see how I had to squeeze that out of you?
And I thank you for that. but I have it all in my brain. And I thank you for that. Another point that he made, the promise of jobs coming to the locals. They have stipulations in these deals that would still not really give the jobs to the locals. But when you look at the entity and what they've been doing over there for 20 years already, you've seen, at one point he said, you've still seen foreigners coming in, operating the machinery and stuff like that.
Yes.
That is
a point.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That is a point he made even way back. Remember when I told you he used to be here and he spoke about his grievances, and and I was able to peruse the contract briefly. Yes. That was one of the things he stressed on. He kept saying that there was no way that if you're going to do construction over there, that you're going to bring in the people who are going to do the construction, bring in the workers and that kind of stuff, and give. So those are relevant points.
Another point that he made is that the deal is bigger than the law of Sinkis and Nevis.
Didn't I say that? Didn't I say that the deal was like, if anything happened, instead of referring to the law, you refer to the board or whoever deals with Kristoff Harbor? I've said that. I garnered that much from my brief perusal of the contract. And this is why I say that when our leaders, and this is again why when our present leader comes and he says, Timothy Harris did this and Timothy Harris tried to do that, and so he's not being truthful, because Denzel Douglas was the one who brokered that original contract.
He's not being truthful at all. And I'm calling out the Prime Minister and the AG this morning. They are not being truthful to the people of Sinkis and Nevis. And I don't really have nothing against the Prime Minister, but when you're talking about making change, you have to show it in your action. You cannot just be talk. You got to make a difference and make a change. And concluding out of some of these points is that when the Prime Minister went and signed off on all of those documents for the FISL project, the deal that he's saying that he did, and he's trying to say that the Timothy Harris-led administration had a bad deal. He said he canceled that deal. You know what that's telling me? That's telling me that when we talk about having contracts, right, and you're not supposed to break a contract, that means he's telling me he has broken that contractual deal that Timothy either was making or was under it to put in his signature on, or was already dried in ink.
And that is a good point.
Which way that was,
that is a good point.
Whichever that way, the Prime Minister is saying that he was able to cancel that Timothy Harris deal.
Yeah.
But guess what? He now makes a deal. So then, therefore, somebody is going to be able to come behind him and cancel the deal what he just did.
But that is a good point, because
one thing I'm gonna ask you quick. Let me ask you a quick question. Me and you is going into a deal, a business venture or whatever. How much percent of that? If you have the land, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna come and put a house on the land or a building on the land. You tell me how much percent you're supposed to get out of that deal when you have the land, and I came with a briefcase without no money. You tell me how much percent out of that deal you're supposed to get. We are two people, right? Whenever two people goes into anything, how much percentage each person gets?
I wouldn't use it in terms of percentage. I would say that the larger part of the deal and the larger control of the deal should be on my side, because I'm the one who has the land.
But instead, we are only down at 30%.
That is what I'm saying.
The smaller percentage is down. The smaller percentage is controlled by the government of the Federation, us.
So that is why.
How can that be?
That is why I referred to the fact that the prior deal was agreed to and signed under a prior prime minister, and that was before Timothy Harris. But the point that you made about the Prime Minister saying that he nullified a contract, that is a good point, because I've heard governments come in and leaders say we couldn't do anything because the contract is already there and government is continuous. So it's convenient for them when they want to to say that, but then when they want to, they can nullify something. And as you said, someone else will come and nullify. And that is why we get nowhere, because government is not continuous. It's every time Hortensia was the leader and she lost and I became the leader, and everything that she put in place, implemented, I nullified, start from scratch again. So 10 years from now, where everybody's starting from scratch.
Yeah, so let me make one more point again. Where the marina, right? What we got to realize now is that the marina is totally out of hands with that new sale that they just did.
Repeat that last part there. The marina is what?
The marina has been sold. The marina is totally out of the hands of St. and Nevis government and the people. There can be no legal negotiations about that marina. It is sold. It's already kissed goodbye.
That is what I'm always saying, that our leaders have got to be mindful of the fact that when deals are made where things are sold back to these investors, we're not going to get them back again.
No, and then I'm not on the ground there. But when I came to St. Kitts last year, I was trying to get a total island-wide tour. I was able to get a partial tour. The next time I come into the Federation, I'm more interested in jumping in St. Kitts and exploring St. Kitts, because as a little boy, I always would come to St. Kitts a few times per year.
Okay, Burl, I would like you to wrap up because we have another caller waiting. So go.
Okay, so leave him on. What I want to ask is the St. Kitts.
No, I don't want him to stay on because he has been on for a while. So make your point, Burl.
Yes. What I'm asking of the St. Kitts and Nevis citizens is not to just sit there and be complacent, because not only the Kristoff Harbor deal is problematic, there is a lot of other problematic deals that was made in terms of projects around the islands, and they ran into difficulty, and the projects are just sitting there collecting bush, stalled. So I just want to see persons who are talking that they're going to be on the next election cycle to come different and come honest and break the status quo. The system that we are operating on in St. Kitts and Nevis, not only is the Constitution faulty, if the Constitution is faulty, everything below it is faulty as well. And
yes, wrap up,
change is not going to come by. Change is not going to come by us as citizens just sitting there, because the politicians, they're not going to make the change for us. And I'm asking the people to stand up and make the change for themselves. Thank you very much, man.
Okay. Caller, you may go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Brother Quinn. Good morning, Contentia.
Good day.
Good morning to all the listeners. My name is Winston. Welcome. I probably lost a little sleep over this thing, too. I'm losing sleep over this because nothing bothers me more than what we have and is attempted to be gone. Kristoff Harbor, Southeast Peninsula. It takes one step to make 1,000,000 miles. And if one step has been taken and we see how it goes, it could determine curiosity. And I'm curious. First of all, we have to go back to the original contract. However the land was acquired, I understand it is eminent domain. But the deal went wrong. We're being sold out for so cheap. Moving forward, knowing what is the potential of what we have as the government, we did have, but I believe we still have. Okay? I shall say, it started out toxic, under the table. And anything is toxic, we got to try to get rid of the toxin. And I'm not going to make any drawing this thing out. I think the whole damn deal should be torn up because you have too much confusion, too much curiosity. And remember.
But caller, how do you tear up the deal? How do you tear up the deal? Contracts are contracts.
Because I'm going to lay out some outline. First of all, if you want my property, you got to bring your money. Don't come to me with no excuse. I interested in this.
But
and I could do this.
caller, you're speaking after the fact. I don't want you to speak after the fact. This has already been done.
Okay.
And it has been done, and you're saying tear up the contract. You cannot tear up the contract. So what do you do otherwise?
The done can be undone. The done can be undone.
How?
That done can be undone.
How?
Yes.
How?
Oh, continue.
How can it be undone?
Because it have toxic. It is toxic. It's a toxic deal.
I did not ask you how the deal. I asked you how it can be undone.
Okay.
You say it
I
can
will.
be.
I will be diligently to have a review how it started and where we are now, and where we are going to go after conclusion. And there shall be conclusion, because
Look,
I need
caller. When I remember a prior call that you made, and you said you would implement eminent domain, and I remember telling you that if you implemented eminent domain, you would have to pay cost price for the land. Here's the problem: whatever the prior contract was, it was made. After the contract was made, the individuals who had agreed to occupy and control that area over there in Kristoff Harbor, they were allowed to speculate. During that period when they were allowed to speculate, the value of that property has gone up. So it then means that if I now come in and I'm going to implement eminent domain, it means that if the land cost 25 million when the deal was first made, it may now cost 100 and something million. So listen to me, because when I give you the chance to talk, you just go around in circles. You just keep using words like it's toxic, and you don't get anywhere. I am saying, after now that the land value has gone up, tremendously, and you're going to say you're going to use eminent domain. You understand what you're now doing? You gave it away in the first place with the prior contract. Now you're going to go and you're going to buy it at an extremely higher cost. And having bought it, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to continue the development? Who are you going to get to run it? How are you? These are the things that you are not saying. You've not said any of these things. You keep saying it's toxic, and I will get rid of it. That's easy to say, but you don't come with anything that says there's.
Quinn, due to the fact that we wasn't being paid for the land, we used our money to help this man. Okay, this man didn't fulfill his commitment. He didn't fulfill his anticipation, and for that reason, it is forfeited. And there was timeline, whether we know it or not. There was timeline. All those has been ignored, and ignorance is no excuse to the law.
But caller, that is one of the questions I asked. I said, in the prior contract, was there a timeline for this thing to be done? Listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the question, if in the prior contract was there a timeline for it to be done. I even went so far as to say, hypothetically, let's say it was a 10-year or 15-year period.
Mm-hmm.
If that period comes to an end and you haven't done anything, I even went further to say, I would have made sure that, because rather than giving you these forgiveness over the year, I would have allowed you to put the noose around your own neck, and I would have used it against you. This has not been done. So let's be hypothetical. Let's assume now that the prior contract has already been exhausted and new contracts have been made since this new system has come into place. If that is the case, what? You can't do nothing.
Well, that remains to be known. I am hoping, and I am elaborating on the fact that when there was a timeline that we don't know, and it's not being transparent, we should go back to that, because no deal closed. It is closed in the name of wrongfulness, breach of contract. Okay?
Caller, you're just using words and saying things that sound good, but they're not adding up to real constructive, common sense ways of dealing with the situation.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, there was a breach of the contract. No one can tell me. Government are not so dumb. They're supposed to be intelligent, dynamic minds. Why would they go with blind eyes, do such a thing and don't put a timeline? When I buy my land, Quint, they gave me, after approval of the land, I have to put down 10%.
Caller, I don't, this is of no relevance. Look, here's the point. Part of what you're saying, I agree with. There was a breach. Here's the fact where there was a breach. Because after a given period, on 2 occasions at least that I can recall, our government gave them bailouts. So that means they breached and they could not fulfill whatever they were committed to financially, and they needed here's what I'm saying. Our government should not have given them that bailout.
Absolutely.
From they gave them that bailout, those 2 bailouts, it allowed them to regather their footing. But here's the part that I'm concerned about. Has there been there is a new government structure in place? We do not know what arrangement they made. That is why I'm saying to you, you cannot be speaking the way you're speaking. We do not know if there is a new contract. We do not know. And if there is a new contract, there's nothing that we can do. We would have to see the extent of the new contract. That is what I'm saying to you. So all that you're saying about, all that you're saying about that happened in the past. But we're not sure if the period before, this is why it is good, this is why the media, in my opinion, is failing us miserably. The media in St. Kitts Nevis and extension around the world, they don't come and ask the hard questions. For instance, if you get somebody like Dwyer, he was in government. He knew that I'm sure Dwyer still has copies of that prior contract. Ask Dwyer certain questions like, for instance, have we exhausted the time span for the prior contract? These are things that should be, if the government don't want to answer, find someone who might be able to answer.
Because you see, Dwyer was in it, and he waited till now to come out with these sinister that happened in the deal from beginning. And he's speaking out like he's righteous and he's atoning. Okay? I blame Dwyer because they all had the information, but the truth is coming out to light. His new generation ain't going to stand for it. I, for one, ain't going to stand for it. And I'm going to tell you, government is continuous. Whatever this government do, if I get my chance, it's my land, I'm from there, I am the citizen of that country, I will tear it up and let who want to fight me, fight me. And let them bring it on. That's my land. That's not their land.
Okay, caller.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm going to make that blunt ruling.
Okay, caller.
Anytime I will fight for that.
Caller, wrap up now, please. Wrap up now. There's another caller waiting.
Yes. In the light of everything that is going on, there are confusion, there are optimistic belief, there are no transparency, whether there is a new deal after the original deal. It is being kept.
Caller, be brief, please, in your wrap up.
I need all the records to be shown so that we could make a proper determination, and I will close here.
Okay.
Prime Minister Drew, bring out the truth and be transparent with everything and save us the continuous argument and upset.
Okay. Caller, go ahead, please.
Yes. As you've been saying, Quinn, what we want is a way out, a way forward.
Yeah.
Okay? Because all of us are outraged by what has happened. All of us. The thing is what to do now. Because you see, the whole thing, I think, started when we started to forget or downplay the whole ideological question, right? Our leaders stopped being conscious.
Yeah.
like leaders of the past, and started seeing things strictly in terms of investment, the economy, capitalist economy, and that was it.
Yeah.
They did not pay attention to the fact that there's a historical context to that. They weren't conscious enough. And so the reason why a deal like that was made was simply because of that reason.
Yeah.
People say, forget ideology, man. That's a old people thing. You know, you got to do business like it's done in this time.
In the modern era.
Right. And as a result of that, we're losing such a significant part of our country.
Yeah.
Okay? Piece by piece. Okay? Because it continues with the Douglas government when it signed that deal. When you look at it, you can't believe Kitishans would do that.
You know?
Okay? you know, it's really outrageous, and that is why we should be protesting the fact that even now they are making deals, signing agreements, and the ordinary person does not know what. They don't know.
That's it.
And they keep these things secret, using all kinds of excuses. You know, and you mentioned the press. It's not just the press; it's the opposition.
Yeah, you're right.
They're supposed to be nitpicking at these things, right? The ordinary person ain't going to go through a 30-page document with all kind of legal stuff in it.
Yeah.
But the opposition supposed to have the resources to do that.
Yeah.
And come out and protest these things, but they're not doing it. And so what you have is since that deal was signed, you had, two changes of administration,
Yeah.
2 or 3 changes to administration, and the same pattern follows.
Yeah.
Right? You still have some of the same people responsible for those things in government now, and going to run again. So what do you expect to happen? You expect them to say, "Oh, I made a mistake. Let me go and rectify it."
No.
They're not going to do that. But in terms of how to get out of this, the thing with eminent domain, you don't have to apply it to all of Kristoff Harbor one time. Okay? You can start by saying, okay, we have 31% of the shares. We're going to leverage that to take particular sectors of land. Okay? Whether through negotiation or using eminent domain, particular sections of land. And you develop that how you want it to develop. Okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the whole thing. So what you can have, there are private investors down there, building private homes and so on. You can leave areas like that. You can designate areas like that for them using the alien landholding license and those kinds of things.
Yes.
But make sure that Kitishans also have access to portions of the development down there.
But
we
you
don't
see,
want no exclusive
but you see,
area. We don't want no gated
but
area.
you see, caller, you're not running for government. This is my point. You're not running for government, but you see how you can put forward something that makes sense.
That's why he should have been one of the advisors.
But here is an individual who continuously says he wants to run for government, and when you ask him something, he says it's toxic. It has to go, and he can't come up with a concrete.
That's not going to move the needle.
This is why I say
you may need to become his advisor.
This is why I want young people who are listening to these programs to understand that we need a new way forward. This thing of people in opposition saying all kind of things that they seem to feel we want to hear is not going to work anymore. Start asking. Go ahead.
You need somebody with vision who's going to see through the present situation, the present bread and butter issues, and look towards the future.
Yeah.
And I'm saying the problem, and again, the problem I have, the Prime Minister said, basically, I think this is a good deal.
Yeah.
A good deal to give to sell the marina when you had an opportunity to take it over?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm not saying that Safe Harbor would not have been a good person to manage it and market it.
Yeah.
They obviously have expertise in that
Yes.
area. But do that, and if anything, do lease arrangements or something. But
So there,
I mean, you can't sell.
so there again, Mr. McMahon, that's another point, and you're not running for office. You understand? That is what we're saying. We're saying whenever you go to the negotiating table, and the other side who had the prior contract are in any way compromised, and you feel you have a negotiating capability, negotiate yourself in such a way that you come out with something tangible, not only for you.
Drive a hard bargain.
That's it.
You have them. I don't understand how something like this could happen, right? And still, and even though we've made mistakes in the past, it still continues to happen.
Continues.
What happens? What happens to the conscious? I can't imagine any conscious citizen thinking that just selling assets is good for the country. You know, no. It's short term. You get some short term cash,
and it's gone.
Long term, you lose your patrimony.
That's the word, patrimony. You lose your patrimony.
You know, but they're not thinking in those terms. They're thinking next election. They're thinking next election. They're thinking that, well, the last government had a problem attracting foreign direct investment. So any deal that you can make now to override that would be to our benefit for next election.
Yeah.
That's short-term thinking.
Short term.
You know.
Okay,
but I really hope that they would consider at least applying portions of that eminent domain thing to
especially
portions of the land.
Especially when we hear the one of the callers before say that Dwyer said that 12 miles of the land of the sea extending is. We got to be careful with things like.
That's so ridiculous.
You know.
I guess that, and I think it included Majors Bay as well.
Yeah.
So that extends over to Nevis. You see, and how that escaped a lot of people is exactly what happens when you don't publish these things and the right people don't pay attention
to details.
But how many people need to keep saying wrong things for them to publish the right things? Because if a lot of wrong things is out there, as I would have mentioned before, put the right things out there so your constituents, your electorate know what is what.
Yeah.
The correct thing. So when we're voting,
and let the people who are directly concerned, like people who are running for office, for instance, they're supposed to take note of these things and use them in their election campaigns.
Yeah.
One of the problems we have, I think, is that a lot of good people are not going to be will not put themselves up to be candidates because they open themselves to a lot of things, including victimization and so on.
Yeah.
That is why we end up with people with so many lawyers and doctors, because at least they're not so vulnerable to those kinds of things.
Yeah, they know the
but
laws.
Really and truly, the parties should try their utmost to attract people like that, who are independent, who can speak their mind, who don't mind or can take care of whatever consequences would result.
Yeah, I want to take a bit of a commercial break right now.
And let them come to the people and explain these things, because I know the people are outraged by it, generally speaking.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, then.
Okay.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
When you need better service.
Get ready to stretch your way into the ultimate festival experience. The Sickest Music Festival is calling, and so are some serious prizes. Spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win a season pass and a night stay at Park Hyatt, a season pass and a night stay at Sickest Marriott Resort, and a season pass and a White Sands ticket. That's right, spend $25 or more on any scratch tickets to win. Available at all Caribbean lottery retailers island-wide. You must be 21 and over to play. Kids and neighbors, it's time to celebrate! We're raising our glasses and saying cheers to 20 years as your trusted telecommunications provider. And because we love our amazing customers, we're giving you the chance to win. Every week, we've got exciting prizes just for you. And that's not all. Step into a cash vault for a shot at $2,000 in cash. To qualify, switch to Digicel, activate a 3-day plan or higher, pay your bill in full, sign up for postpaid or a new Digicel Plus internet package. Stay connected, keep enjoying the best service, and get ready to win. 20 years strong, and we're just getting started. Visit a Digicel retail store today.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, let me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Give her a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Running a business? Closing deals, keeping the books, covering team lunches. That's work. But getting rewarded for it, now, that's a trip. With a new JetBlue Business Card by CIBC Caribbean, every expense moves you forward. Earn 30,000 TrueBlue points after your first purchase, plus perks like a free checked bag, priority boarding, and more. Make your business a trip with a new JetBlue Business Card by CIBC Caribbean. Apply today at www.cibccaribbean.com/JetBlue.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, let me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Give her a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
It's time to turn up the vibes and the rewards. Zero your balance for a chance to party in VIP style. Pay your internet or Ultra TV bill in full by June 17 and you could win free VIP tickets to the Express events at St. Kitts Music Festival or the Antioch Baptist Praise Fest. That's right. Your next payment could be your ticket to front row fun. Picture this. The lights, the beats, the energy, and you living it up like a true VIP. All because you paid your bill. Winners announced every week. So the sooner you pay, the more chances you have to win. Don't miss your chance. Don't wait. It's time to zero your balance and turn up the vibes. The Cable, always giving you more where it matters. Terms and conditions apply.
Lucky you, lucky you.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running June 12th to June 25th.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Bird's Eye Steamed Fresh Vegetables, just $5.99. Stonebridge Ice Cream, $17.99. Culinary Circle Pizza, just $29.99. Suavitel Fabric Conditioner, $17.39. Arm & Hammer Liquid Detergent, $39.99. OxyClean Stain Remover, very useful, just $32.99. And now, our very low weekly
Value deals! Pillsbury Cake Mix, $6.99. All Orchard Apple Juice and 100% Apple Juice, $9.99. Post Honey Bunches of all cereals, $13.99. Irish Spring Bar Soap, $11.99. Arm & Hammer deodorant, $8.99. Palmolive Liquid Dish Detergent, $11.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea, and I have a comment here, okay? It says, for Mr. McMahon, basically the suggestion that Mr. McMahon made, that is the opposition fault, is unreasonable. The media should be objective and inquiring. And I want to say I see the media being inquiring, but the questions just don't get answered. The opposition will be reasonably perceived as having an ulterior motive. And we know the ulterior motive is to win an election, right? So the comment goes on to say, would he have blamed the Labour Party when in opposition for the lack of information about matters such as the CBI, the prison project, the COVID honoraria to senior public employees, etc., etc.?
Well, I'm not going to try to speak for Mr. McMahon, but I agree with him. The opposition has a part to play. And when you are in opposition...
But how does the opposition get these or this information about the CBI, about the prison project when they're not in power? And then when they do get in power, they still don't share what they find.
That is not an excuse. The opposition has people in all over the system. People who are working.
I don't know.
People all over working here and working there in the civil service. They've got people. You understand?
Because sometimes you wonder how the things are leaked and the prime minister or the press secretary didn't say anything.
So the opposition, it is the opposition's job to keep the incumbents' feet to the fire, keep them to the fire, so that the people, the electorate now is saying to themselves, wow, we wouldn't have known that if the opposition hadn't brought that. And that idea put forward by the opposition sound good, and back in the back of their head they're going to be thinking, well, if this government is messing up so much and the opposition has so much good ideas, maybe we should give them a try. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, because that's what happened at the last election.
Yeah. So the opposition has a job to do, so do the job. Hello, caller.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good,
fine,
thanks. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm here listening from morning, right? And Mr. McMahon says something that he's surprised at the deal. I want to ask Mr. McMahon why he's surprised. Was carried out by the same prime minister who tell the nation national debt he donkey behind. He's surprised. I don't understand why McMahon surprised. And I want to tell him kudos thing, because McMahon has really come a long way, because that state government couldn't do no wrong for him. He come a long way. McMahon, you're going up.
He has matured.
Yes, he sure has. Come here, he used to have it out on the radio, so he really has matured.
But that is what we want the electorate to do, to mature. Yeah,
But he should not be surprised. And for Dwyer, that's why I always tell myself, I'm not impressed with Dwyer, Tim, none of them when they come talk, because they all were in there. They all were a part of all what went down under Douglas. So I'm not impressed with any of them when they start to talk. Sorry, but you were there. When you had the opportunity to do something, you didn't do anything about it. You sit back and you make things happen. No, you're talking. What's the point? All you're doing is making people angry, making people upset, and got people putting out their head. Because now you wonder, how can people think it get out of this ridiculous deal?
Yeah, good point.
But anyway, have a good day, guys.
Same to you. Hello, caller.
Thanks for your contribution.
Yes, good morning again, Brother Quinn.
Yes.
I'm not done, but I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm jumping on McMahon, and I'm going to jump on Greg. Those two men, I listen to them, and I like their views, okay? But these men have such great grasping ideas to bargain and negotiate, and they are not doing anything, they're just talking, and I need them to do more than talk. Listen. If our country go at war right now and they draft McMahon or they draft Greg, they're going to say they're not into war. but they have to go. So why not do this for us? And the very few that claim that they are in, I'm not saying we don't fall short. Okay? And you know who I am, Quinn. I am Mr. Welcome. And we need help. As much help, all hands should be on deck.
But that is what, caller, that is what Greg and Mr. McMahon are trying to do. They're trying to give you pointers because I must be blunt. A lot of the times you're not coming up the way they expect you to, so they give you pointers. So rather than saying they need to jump in the ring, what you should do is take up what they put forward and run with it, speak on it, expound on it, add to it, and let us judge for ourselves if you now are maturing.
I glad for that pointer. And Clint, I'm not going to call you Brother Quint anymore. I'm going to call you Master Quint, because you are the master sitting down and you are set in the middle and you make ruling that you see is necessary. So, Master Quint, I am going to say that these dynamic ideas that coming from Greg and McMahon, I am angry, but I still can't be mad, because they have this thing, and to me, manifest. I believe in manifestation, and that is the next step that they got to do. Like that lady said, Greg, McMahon has matured, Greg, both of them has matured, okay? And I need them to take the other step, because we cannot go on with the status quo that is there now. We need to make change, and we need them, okay? We can't wait for them to be advisors. We need them to go in. Win, lose, or draw, at least you try. Okay? There is no excuse with those ideas that you all have. Get up and jump in.
Well, let me be a devil's advocate again and ask you. Yes. I like to use hypotheticals. So let's assume that you happen to win the next election. Okay? You're now the incumbent. Will you have the guts, the fortitude, will you be at the maturity level to hire individuals as your advisors who you know are not going to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear?
Indeed.
Well, that's easy to say.
I will hire Greg.
That's
I will hire McMahon. Okay, because I don't know everything, and I don't want to be like a dictator also in that spirit. I need to share. All hands are on deck. I am a sharing person. A team is not a team if you don't give a damn about one another.
Caller,
Hmm?
I asked that and I said it was a hypothetical because from where you sit presently, it is easy for you to say you would. But the reason I asked it is because let's assume that you happen to win, right? Just being the devil's advocate, that you happen to win, and you don't do that, then we know that you just spoke as normal oppositions do, and when you get in power, you continue the same old.
Greg, Master Quinn, do not put me to be that. Let me tell you, I am a loving child of God. I am a compassionate and I'm an empathetic human, and I'm a humanitarian. And the reason why I'm taking up this fight is because it comes to heart, and my heart, I know is good. I spread my good deed and gesture to people around me, and whether I know them or I know them not. I think I am a mechanic. I am a travel agent. I don't do travel agents anymore, but I mastered it. Okay? But I am a mechanic. And when I drive the street, going to Connecticut, out of state, coming to New York, I find a car that's broken down. I don't ask for money, and I fix them up. And they ask where I am from. I said, go in peace. And I know I have done my part for that day. It's better for me, and I feel joy in giving than receiving. And I can spread that for my people, and that's what I need to do, and I shall do. Money, I only need some money to spend. That's all. I don't need money to pay the devil or pay God to extend my life. Okay? And having that said, that is my fundamental of how I will continue to live. Money doesn't break me. I only need it to spend, and I don't love money. And I will never try to love money because it is the root of evil and that's the way it's going. And the way our leaders are going, okay?
Hortensia is having a good chuckle. Yeah. Okay then. Take care.
So I will leave on that. Greg and McMahon, and if there are any more out there, come in as independents because we stand a great, fantastic chance. We need the Christian society. Because Christians are not to say they're staying away from politics. We need those kind of intelligence to make this country great.
Caller.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take this call. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I must push back against.
Okay, Mr. I want you to be brief because I want to take a commercial break. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, but I find the accusation of maturing kind of patronizing. Because if it's anything I pride myself in, being consistent. And when I started my campaign, if you want to call it public campaign or public advocacy, it was for two main reasons. One, I believe in democracy. And two, I think the problem we've always had and continue to have is one of governance.
Yes.
And if you look back at all my Facebook posts, I always posted under my own name, my Facebook comments, my radio programs. It has always about those two things.
I can agree with you on that. Yes.
So if anybody has matured, I think Cleo, I think it's you, because the back and forth we used to have was concerning governance, right? And because the tendency is when a party that you back is in power, you tend to support them no matter what. I have always been consistent when it comes around governance. Because if you don't have good governance, you are always going to be in trouble.
Because I can recall you started saying when they don't work, get them out before the last change, and then even when
change until you get the change that you want,
and
right?
then when we had this recent change, you gave them a lull period, and then you came back on the same thing. If you don't,
because they seem to be doing the same thing as before.
Yeah,
that's not how you get change. You have to be prepared to call out, to hold those who are in power accountable, right? And the thing is, when they're outside of government, they know all that is wrong.
But
there's a need for better governance and transparency, but they never ever follow through with it when they get it. That is why they have to be held accountable.
But Mr. McMahon, I must commend you, because I remember when you used to be saying during the Unity era that, change, and then when there was a change, I was monitoring you, listening to you, and I was kind of surprised and felt like kind of good that you started up that talk again, and you've been consistent with it even during this present system. And I'm sure that there are a lot in this present system, a lot of them involved in this present system, who are very angry with you because...
Yeah, but no problem. It has always been like that. I remember when Unity was in, for instance, it was about 6 months after that I actually started this to accuse them of not governing according to what they had planned with the good governance agenda.
Yes.
And the Prime Minister's response, because I asked him on a program that he was on, his response was, nobody going to crack no whip on them insofar as the good governance agenda is concerned, right? And so I felt it was only right that you give, now that there was a change, give the current government their 6 months, and they did pretty much the same thing, incremental steps towards good governance and transparency, right? And then say, basically, it's like they have arrived.
Yeah.
No. It's an ongoing thing where you apply it. It's not being applied, and that is why we continue to find ourselves in problems, whether it be on the CBI, East Coast housing, now Kristoff Harbor, you name it. We have a problem with this lack of transparency in government.
Yeah.
And I'd say one last thing. The Prime Minister, in his last, I think it was an interview, basically, when he was decrying the deal that they had made with Kristoff Harbor, said he basically wondered how could they make a deal like that, and wondered, he kind of intimated that there might have been something on the table or something nefarious afoot with that. But you can say the same thing now.
Yeah.
No, if you're not publishing the deals that you're making, what are we supposed to think?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Okay. And to strengthen what he said, here's what I also realize, and this is a very vital part of government and the government structure and governing. Whoever is the leader of the party has got to have enough guts to make some decisions that are not going to be popular. For instance, if I'm the leader of the party and you are the minister of whatever portfolio you have, and since I have these, unless you change the constitution, since I have these awesome powers, if you are not performing, I'm going to move you. I'm going to shuffle until, as Mr. McMahon says, I get it right. I'm not going to, because we are of the same party, that I'm going to be your friend and be nice, because the thing that we want is the country to move forward. And if you're not living up to the portfolio that you were given, meeting the mandate, I'm going to change you. You understand? I'm going to move you from whether it be education or...
But how many times can we allow a person to be moved? When is enough enough? As you say, we need new politicians because we have recycled politicians.
That is a good question, but here's who has been moved in this present system? Who has been moved? We've heard complain that we know for a fact that some of them are not living up to the mandate of their portfolio. We know that as a fact, okay? But who has been moved? Who has been shuffled? We know some of them are trying, you know. I will say that I feel that Congress is trying, you know what I'm saying? But there are others. I think that the Minister of Tourism is trying, even though she has, defaulted. I think she's trying. But there are others in there who, I'm not going to call names, we know who they are, and they're not performing. They're so not performing that the people who are depending on them are bawling, using the colloquial phrase, not crying, bawling. And he's not doing. I keep hearing him saying, everything is going, and he's calling names and saying, and he's doing a good job. And I'm cringing. I'm saying, no, Mr. Prime Minister, they are your detriment, and you're helping them to be your detriment. If you have the guts to shuffle, then the electorate says, okay, at least he's trying something. You know what I'm saying? And if it doesn't work, the electorate know you tried. But when the electorate sees that these people are not living up to the mandate, and you're saying things like they're doing a good job and this, come on. I tell people, I don't have anything against any party, whether PAM, Labour, Unity. I just call it as I see it. It is because I don't sit on the side of any party that I can call it the way I see it. I'm a realist. And this is what I want people to do here moving forward. Stop picking a side and staying adamantly on that side no matter what you see them do to you. If you pick a side and they're not doing, I'm not saying jump from the side. I'm saying you're still in the side, but you say, but Mr. Prime Minister, I don't think that is right. I'm still your supporter, but no.
People even say that the media is considered to be lazy, right? But in the media's defense, and I will argue this to the core, I hear the media ask questions and then they don't get the answer.
That is
or they
true.
ask questions and it's perused around and around
That
and
is
around
true.
and they still don't get answers. So what else can the media do to get these answers? Well, hold the leaders who are in at this point feet to the fire.
Here's one of the. You're right. I've heard it too. I've heard, for instance, we saw where what's his name? The guy who asked the prime minister about whether it was the complete loan or something like that. He works. You know him.
He works the Observer?
I don't know.
Because I remember this one guy from the Observer asking a very loaded question, and it
I'm
was
not
said that
speaking about asking a loaded question.
Okay.
He asked Bart.
Glenn Bart.
Glenn Bart. I could see the frustration on Glenn Bart's face. You could see it.
Because there's nothing, he's not getting the answers.
Yeah,
you
you could see the poor man, like his mind is ticking. Like I'm reading his mind. Like what am I supposed to do here? I mean, because the prime minister was being diplomatic and he's trying to box, Mr. Bart into a position, and Mr. Bart is frustrated and I understand that frustration because as a media, you still don't want to be hostile. You see, so that's the position, and the politicians know it, so they come at you in a way, and if you're forceful and adamant, then the masses of the people might think, well, that's the prime minister, he's being hostile. Here's what I'm saying. You're right. The media asks questions, and we see the prime minister is very good at that, our present prime minister. You ask a question, and he goes around and around, and he takes a very long time on one question. And by the time he's finished, you're not really sure if he even answered the question. So I understand that frustration. Here's what I'm saying. The media, because it is your job, when you ask that question the first time and it isn't answered, the next time he has a press conference, ask the same question. And when you say, but with all due respect, I asked you that before and you didn't give an answer. We're still none the wiser. You understand what I'm saying? Let's see the prime minister now looking frustrated. Let's see the instead of the media man looking like, wow, like he's frustrated. We want to see some frustration on the prime minister's face. We don't want the prime minister to sit there looking all comfortable and smug. We want you to even do a tag team on him. I ask a question, and when I ask the question, Hortensia comes and asks the question, but she words it different. You understand? Hit him in ways that you're going to seem like he's shuffling the papers in front of him, and he might be, that's what we want to see. Then we know you're doing your job. Now, we know certain media can't do that. We know ZIZ can't do that, right? But the independent media, we expect you to do that, okay? So let's take a bit of a break. And, we have come to the end. It's 10 o'clock.
Already.
Wow. Time has flown.
Time flies when we're having fun. So
yes.
Have a great Thursday. See you on tomorrow's program.
Yeah. So do take care, and we'll see you tomorrow, the Almighty Creator willing. Okay?
INN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running June 12th to June 25th.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Bird's Eye steamed fresh vegetables, just $5.99. Stonebridge